morning, good afternoon, good night, wherever you may be in the world. Welcome and welcome back. My name is Brooke, aka Brooks Moon, and I hope you're doing okay. So we're doing something today that I'm kind of a little bit scared. It is November. It is season right now. Purely Twilight season at the moment. And I have a confession. I've never read the Twilight books. I had only seen the movies, I think, last year for the first time. I was never a Twilight girly. I was never a vampire girly. It just, like, that wasn't my vibe. I was more of, like, the dystopian era of things. Wasn't a vampire girly. I didn't watch the Vampire Diaries. Still haven't seen it. I didn't have any desire to do so. And I was like, you know what? At the peak of like November, I want to read Twilight for the first time. Luckily, my mom has all the books already because she read them when they were first like popular and everything with the movies. So she is letting me borrow all 4 of her books and I'm going to read them in this vlog. I know that Stephenie Meyer is like not a great person. And so like because of that, I don't have high expectations for these books. The movies aren't good. I'm sorry, like they're fun to watch, but objectively, they are bad. I am expecting the same for these books. I'm not expecting them to be very good. I'm not expecting to like them very much. Maybe I'm coming into this being a hater, which I'm so sorry if like you live and love and breathe Twilight. You have to acknowledge the fact that they are not the best thing ever written because they're YA. Like, it's YA fantasy vampires that sparkle in the sun. Like, I'm not going to take it seriously. Going to start the first one today. I'm kind of expecting to get through it fast because of how large the print is and also they're YA books. And also I've seen the movies. So like I feel like I will have a pretty good understanding of what's going on. I watched the movies. I watched it as a comedy and it was the funniest thing in the world. I'm sorry, but like Jasper staring at everyone with wide eyes for the entirety of the first movie is the most unserious thing in the world. And then the fact that he's a Confederate soldier, you're done. But I am aware that Stephenie Meyer is a weirdo and also did the Native community so poorly, like so bad. So I will be donating $50 to Missing and Indigenous Women. The nonprofit proof will be here to do my best to, because I love the Native community. I have trying to educate myself more on the like real history and learning more about their stories. Check in as I go, so I'll probably check in around like 25%, 50%. You know the drill if you've seen a reading vlog on here. Do that for all of them, and then I'll give my final thoughts at the end of this. I fear I'm going to be a hater for a good majority of this video, which I'm so sorry. I'm not making fun of you if you like these and you like genuinely love them. Like, please do not think that I'm like coming for you. I'm not. I will be a hater to my core if that is what it means. So that's just the situation. Yeah, we're gonna start the first book today. I have very low expectations, but it's fine. The first book, this has the movie cover on it. I don't like that they're all staring at me. I hate real people on book covers, even when they are the movie versions. Jasper is staring into my soul still. Why does he look at me like that? Like, Jasper, I need you to not. That's all for me for now. My goal is to finish these before the end of November. I don't know if that's going to happen. I'm a little over halfway through. I'm like 53, 54% of the way through, I want to say. Okay, I was correct to not have really high expectations. Is like the best way that I can say this. I can't stop laughing every time something happens between her and Edward. When they're at the meadow and he like shows her what he looks like in the sun, and I just like, I can't. I cannot take it serious. I cannot take these books seriously, and I think that's just because I've seen the movies. I thought the movies were insane. So like maybe that's why, but like it's the same vibe. Like it's the same exact vibe. I think Edward's a freak. I really do. I think he's a weirdo. Like, it's just like he's so odd. About the story already because I've seen the movies before I read the books, but I'm just like, he's so weird. Like, he's such a weird individual. He's a weird character. The fact he gaslights her constantly at the beginning is just insane to me. Her being absolutely distraught because she has a crush on a man, and then she's like annoyed that she's like distraught. Relatable content, girl. I get it. Like, you find out that the man that you're distraught over is a vampire, and then you're just like, what? Like, I get it. I understand 100%. This is an experience so far for me. Like, a good one, not necessarily, but it's also not a bad one. Like, I'm having fun because of just how ridiculous and insane these books are, and just like the way that the writing is. It's a wild time, to say the least. I couldn't help but laugh. I like shook my head when they were talking. He's like in her driveway before Billy and Jacob come by. He's like, it's twilight outside. I could not stop laughing. I was like, oh my god, they said the title of the book. It's crazy. I'm having fun. Because if I don't have fun, I'm gonna be like overly critical about it. Holy shit, Emma Swan. That is Once Upon a Time. Where am I? Bella Swan is the definition of she's not like other girls. Like, she was the OG, I think, that like created this whole entire epidemic of she's not like other girl characters in the worst way. I hate to say it, but it's like in the worst way. I cannot stop laughing. It's so funny to me. So I will check in when I finish this one and then I start the next one. I genuinely don't know what's going on. I couldn't tell you what is happening. Oh my god. Oh my god. We've known each other for what, like 2 months? 2 months. One day they spent together. And he's like, yeah, by the way, I'm not gonna eat you. And she's like, oh my god, I love you. Girl, what? After this man just admitted to the fact that he has been coming in here and watching you sleep in the middle of the night, and you're like, oh my god, what if I could change him? Girl, literally the day before, he was talking about how he wanted to eat you. Literally, like, kill you and eat you. That's insane. And she's like, yeah, I love you. And also, she's like, oh, are we gonna I'm just like, I can't. I don't think I'm emotionally prepared. When he like leaves and she's like in a deep depression, girl becomes suicidal. Like, I don't know if I'm ready to read that and like deal with that. I'm just like so appalled right now. Yep, you watched me sleep, and for the first time that I knew you were here. And in my sleep I said that I loved you. And he's like, this is great. Like, I'm not gonna eat you. She's like, oh my god. Giggling, kicking her feet. The bar is so low. Oh my god. Oh my god. It's just like, these books are insane. I'm very surprised at like how long it took me to read these. And honestly, I don't think I would have enjoyed them when I was younger. To me, like, Everlark was the standard for so long. Peter Malark is the #1 book boyfriend always and forever. I think if I read these when I was like in middle school, it would have given me a very toxic perception of what men are. And I'm so glad that I didn't, because I'm reading this. Yeah, no, Edward's a freak, because what the fuck are you talking about? Because if a man told me that he was a vampire and admitted to the fact that he'd been breaking into my house and watching me sleep at night, without me being aware of that, and he admitted the day before that he wanted to eat me, I would have gone berserk. I would have gone insane. Because what do you mean? Jacob pisses me off. Like, the fact that he's like got into a fit of jealousy when her dad mentioned another man? Dude, bro, you're joking. Like, you have to be kidding. Can't. This is insane. I don't know if I'm like actually having a good time, or if I'm just like so appalled at how insane this is. Like, I want to keep going. I don't think it's like coming from a place of joy. I think it's coming from a place of like when you watch like a car crash, like you can't look away. Like, that's the feeling I'm getting right now. I want to consume this entire series so fast so I can see how insane it gets. I'm just I don't know what to do. This is a wild experience to be having when I'm in my 20s. That's all my thoughts right now. I just like, I had to record and say something because I'm like actually going crazy. There's been no plot yet. I feel like the plot is going to come in like with like 80%. It's literally just been her and this man talking. Also, never in my life has a man talked this much in a book. Edward, weird, creepy, terrifying. I'm sorry. I can't get behind it. Is he better than Jacob? Yes. But are they both terrible? Also, yeah. Both bad options. All of the men in these books are crazy. That's all for me. Man, oh man. Oh boy. It's been a few days. I'm done with Twilight. Also, I got a haircut and I dyed my hair. So that's why I look a little bit different. But I finished this. Solid 2-star read. When I tell you I don't know what I just consumed. Also, have never had a male love interest talk about how the person that they're in love with smells so much in this book. The movie was just playing in my head as I was reading, which was the experience that I was having. I think having had seen the movies previously changed my perception of the books a little bit because I know what the characters look like. I know the plot of the story because of the first book. Hi. Just wants to be included what the story is, so it's not like that was like anything new for me. However, it felt insanely more ridiculous than the movies did because you're directly in Bella's perspective, at least with the films. Third person, third party, like, views and stuff. Do I think this book is good? No. Did I have a fun time? Fun is a strong word to use. I was intrigued. I think that's really the best way that I could explain it. I think I said this in my last update, that it feels like I'm watching a car crash and I can't look away. I feel like I am reading one of the most ridiculous things ever written, but then again, I did read after, so, you know, there's that as well. 2-star read, done with the first one. I'm gonna start New Moon tomorrow. Tomorrow is Thanksgiving of me recording this. We're not gonna talk about how bad I've been with uploading. We're ignoring that. Okay, you have to. I'm trying to pump out videos as often as I can. It's just really difficult. This is the next step. I like these covers. I like the design of the original Twilight covers. I thought that they're fun. I hate that Robert Pattinson was looking at me like this the entire time I was reading this book. It's fine. The second one I'm not really looking forward to because there's that period of time where Edward is gone and Bella is staring out a window. It's gonna happen and we're gonna see how I feel. I can't believe I'm putting myself through this in the year 2024. I feel like my brain is melting. Just like a little bit, like slightly melting. Like I feel like I'm losing brain cells reading something that I probably should have read when I was 13 years old and didn't. But now that I'm 23, it's a totally different experience. I don't consider myself a pretentious reader, but I might be. I think my taste has like really changed over the years. Because this, you know that feeling when like there's stuff stuck in your teeth and you can't get it out? That's how I feel reading these books. Like they're so infuriating and annoying, but like the feeling is there and I'm like so interested to know how these books are written considering I have seen the movies. It's kind of sad that I have seen the movies previously because even though it's kind of a blur because I've only ever seen the movies through once, you know a good bit of this because like Bella is like depressed for so long and Edward tries to like walk into the sun to get himself killed by a mob, and that's all I can really tell you about New Moon. So this is an experience for me. A good one? No. But it is an experience. I'm 50% of the way through. I did not think that these books could get worse, but I was so wrong. What the fuck am I reading? All this book has been so far is Bella is depressed, Jacob is a weirdo, and Edward is like speaking to her via visions. Where are we? We've lost the plot. All that exists is terrible stereotypes about native people. Everything's gone. The only thing that's really happened is she has like figured out that Jacob is a werewolf. And my god, this book is so bad. I can't express how disappointing it probably would have been if you were a fan of the first book and then this book came out and then you had to wait to read the next one, because this is garbage. I'm sorry. If you like these books, I'm so sorry. It's so bad. Characters aren't likable. The story is not good in this one at all. Like, I can't even tell you what has really happened other than she's gotten on a motorcycle. All of her friends think she's fucking weird. And her dad is like convinced she's going to just become depressed and kill herself immediately. And Jacob is in love with her and is the king of delusion and thinks she's gonna fall in love with him any point. Which, like, period. I guess if you want to live in your state of delusion, even though she has said multiple times over and over again that he clearly likes her in a different way that she likes him. He's just a friend, but to him, she is the love of his life. New Moon, also as a movie, I hated. I didn't like it. It felt pointless to me. It was so boring. Girl was just depressed, running around trying to, like, put herself on the brink of death because she thinks that if she puts herself in so much danger that Edward is just gonna rematerialize. It's insane. She's literally so toxic and self-sabotaging. It's crazy. And I'm not gonna lie, like, literally nothing has happened. Like, nothing has happened, and I'm 300 pages into this book. Only one thing has happened, and it is a vampire popped up in the meadow that she went to with Edward that she was trying to find because she thought she was going crazy. And then the pack of werewolves that is Jacob appear. Also now Jacob, I love how when Jacob became went through the like werewolf transformation, he just became an asshole. Like, immediately became a dick. Thing of like long hair Jacob was nice Jacob and then short hair Jacob is evil. Like, that is true. I really don't want to continue, but like I'm going to for the sake of the content, because this very quickly turned into me just being a hater for a whole video. And like, you know what? It's fine. It's fine because I don't have to like everything that I read, and this is mainly just for the experience because I want to understand. And right now I'm not understanding why people were obsessed with these books other than the movies. Like, that was the reason why they read the books in the first place, was because the movies were being made. But I do know that these books had like a cult following before the movies were ever being developed. So like I'm confused because who read the first one and was like, this is art, this is great, this is amazing, it needs to be made into a movie, then read New Moon and was like, we're gonna keep going, we're gonna push through, this is gonna be the worst one, it's fine. She removed all of the parts of the story that were interesting in the last book and they're gone. There's no vampires until like page 250 or something, and then now you're introducing werewolves 300 pages into the plot. It's insane. It's insane. But then again, like, all of the action in the first book happened within the last 100 pages, so you know. What do I know? I'm regretting putting myself through this, but it's fine. I'm currently reading 2 books that are good at the same time, so like I'm not entirely losing my mind. It's at a 1 star. It started at a 2 and then it got bumped down to a 1 very, very fast. I don't think it's going to redeem itself. I'm gonna be so real here. I don't think there is a single character in this book that I like. Other than Charlie, I think Charlie is the only reasonable person in this entire series, which is how I felt when I watched the movies for the first time. And sometimes Alice, but Alice has not been present except for the first like 25 pages of this book. And then she was gone. And I was sad because I like Alice's character. The rest of them I cannot stand. It's like, was anybody like conscious during the early 2000s when these books came out? So the fact that I know that this was once of My Chemical Romance fanfiction turned story, and then the whole entire like 9/11 caused 50 Shades of Grey, I just like, there's just too much. Because it was 9/11, and then because of 9/11 My Chemical Romance formed, and then because of My Chemical Romance Twilight was written as a My Chemical Romance fanfiction, but then it turned into Twilight, which then 50 Shades of Grey was written as a Twilight fanfiction, which was a fanfiction of a fanfiction. Anyway, if you were chronically online, you know what I'm talking about. I'm gonna go to bed because I feel like I've lost my mind. I read this much today, which is a lot. Like, this is a lot of pages in one day. I'm exhausted. I also worked today, so this is all I've done after work, which has just been torturing myself further. I finished. It got a 1 star rating for me. Genuinely think it was significantly worse than the first book. At least the first book, there was a little bit more, I don't know, it was the same as the first one where the action and the actual issue doesn't really happen until the end. The whole problem of like the vampires coming after Bella, but you don't see any of that, and like it's just a problem that has been carried into, I'm assuming, the next one. And mainly it was just like establishing this weird love triangle. That's all this book was for. Like, it was just for to like show that Bella and Jacob actually get along, and she does love him, but like as a friend, and then she thinks she's never gonna see Edward again. Maybe I can accept him as like the person that I love. And I'm like, girl, what? Like, what are you talking about? I genuinely didn't like Jacob's character at all. I didn't like his character in the first one either when he is established. Then she goes to Italy, stops Edward from killing himself in front of the Volturi because he thinks she's dead. Then they go back to Forks. She thinks he's not really there because he doesn't want to be with her anymore. Like, she is the definition of like the insecure girlfriend. I can't stand her. I find her annoying. I find all of the characters in these books unlikable. I think the only reasonable person in these books is Charlie. Like, he's the only logical human being. Alice, I do, but she did kind of annoy me in this one a little bit. Clearly, like, you can tell that Bella is distraught and upset, and she just like doesn't really seem to care. Like, it's so infuriating. It's like they all say they like care about her so much, but then they do shit that it's like, no, you don't. Like, you don't actually give a fuck. What's getting me is that like there were so many like middle-aged women who were reading these. To me, it feels like Twilight was like that generation's popular fantasy books that are poorly written, that actually aren't that good. Like a controversial author. Like, history just repeats itself in the book communities, it seems. Now with like ACOTAR and Fourth Wing, like you have authors who are like not gray people taking stereotypes that they shouldn't be taking, putting them in their books that aren't, people are flocking to them and are obsessed with them. And I haven't read either one of them. I'm just going off of the basis, the general consensus that exists around those two authors and those books. Really don't want to continue with these books, but I need to for the sake of this vlog, because this one was boring as fuck. I'm sorry, it was so boring. Nothing really happened until the end. At least with the first one, like, you're getting that whole idea of the vampires and like you're discovering that part of the world. In this, they were gone for pretty much all of the book except for the last like 25%. And then they like come back and it's like because Edward's in trouble. Like, I could not justify rating this book more than 1 star. Like, it just, to me, like there just was no reason for it. I found Bella so infuriating. She's like the epitome of not like other girls, insecure girlfriend, nothing is good for her character, but like everyone's obsessed with her, like that type of thing. And to me, it just like, it's so flat to have as like a characteristic. I'm gonna start Eclipse today. I am praying that this is better. I don't like them. I don't like them. I think these are the lowest rated books I've read all year. I don't know. I can't. I don't. I hate these books. I hate these books. I hate every man that is in this book. I hate Jacob Black with every bone in my body. I also now dislike Charlie because why are you encouraging Jacob to kiss your daughter when she doesn't want that? Love triangles is one of my least favorite tropes, but you can't even consider this a love triangle because Bella isn't the one that wants to be with him. There are not enough words for me to express how annoyed I am with this book. I'm struggling to find the justification that people really, really love these books for them being good. Because, like, I can't objectively say that they're good, because they're not. I'm sorry if you love these books and you enjoy them, but to me, it's different if you enjoy them for nostalgic reasons versus if you're like, these are the best books ever written. Because they're not. They're fucking terrible. I can't with this anymore. I really DNF this video. I want to know how the last book is, and I want to know how this wraps up. I'm 50% of the way done with it at this point, maybe a little bit more than that. Like, I've seen the movies. I know how awful and annoying Jacob is, especially in Eclipse. But like, oh my god. I'm just like appalled. This video really turned into me being a hater. How do you read this and you're like, this is good? The world building, I have to say, is interesting. Built the world and the existence and the lore around vampires is very interesting. The way that she did the same thing with the werewolves. But outside of that, it's bad. Like, all of the characters suck. Like, I'm sorry, but Edward also sucks. I can't stand him. Him being like, I own her. She's mine. Girl, I need you to grow up. The way that Bella's like, no, I want to live forever and I want eternal youth and to be a vampire. But marriage is terrifying to me.
Girl, what the
Being immortal, being unable to sleep, which is like worst nightmare. What do you mean I have to be awake all the time? I would go insane. Like, if I'm gonna be immortal, I still need to be able to go to bed. I love sleeping too much to not be able to do it. It's one of my favorite activities. You're okay with that, but being married is where the line is drawn. Why? I don't understand. Like, she's like, I don't want to be seen as that girl. Girl, everyone that you know is gonna be dead and you're gonna be 19 forever. Why do you care? Who needs to know that you're married when you're like in a new society or whatever? I don't know. And oh my god, the stereotypes that she has given for native people. Like, I'm appalled. Aghast, you may say. Cause what? I know that these were written in the early 2000s and like, of course there were like those stereotypical racist ideals that were normalized at the time. It doesn't excuse it. I feel gross reading these books. I hate it here. I put myself through that. Like, I know I did this for content reasons, but like, why? The whole world building aspect, I gotta say, very intriguing. It's very interesting how she has done what she's done with vampires and stuff. It's clear that she's thought out her world building, and it kind of feels like going into this, she had an idea of what she wanted vampires to look like and werewolves to look like in this universe. Props, I guess, where props are due. You're gonna have like a really great concept for world building, but then your characters suck. Your dialogue is awful. It's incredibly cheesy. None of your characters are likable. Then what the fuck is the point? It doesn't make sense to me. Those are all the thoughts I have right now. I will give more when I'm done with this godforsaken fucking book, which will probably, hopefully, maybe be tomorrow. I just want to get through it, and I want it to be done, and I want it to be over. This is how much I have left of this book. I have to take a moment with this because I'm actively losing my mind. This is when her and Jacob are in the mountains, and it's just the two of them. First of all, I just am so mad. I've noticed that werewolves are prone to that mistake. Do you think it's a generic thing? Does that mean that he's a better kisser than I am? Jacob asked, suddenly glum. I really couldn't say, Jake. Edward is the only person I've ever kissed besides me. It was you forcing yourself upon her. Anyway, but I don't get that as a kiss, Jacob. I think of it more of as an assault. Ouch, that's cold. No, it's not, you freak. Bella, according to you, you've kissed just one person who isn't really a person in your whole life. You're not either. You are not either, you are a dog. And you're calling it quits? How do you know that's what you want? Shouldn't you play the field a little? Why would it be you? Riddle me this. Why would it be you? I kept my voice cool. I know exactly what I want. Then it couldn't hurt to double check. Maybe you should try kissing someone else. Just for comparison's sake. Since what happened the other day doesn't count, you could kiss me, for example. I don't mind if you use me to experiment. Don't mess with me, Jake. I swear I won't stop him if he wants to break your jaw. If you ask me to kiss you, he won't have a reason to get upset. He said that was fine. I'm going to actually become violent. Sometimes I think you like me better as a wolf. Sometimes I do. It probably has something to do with the way you can't talk. No, I don't think that's it. I think it's easier for you to be near me when I'm not human because you don't have to pretend you're not attracted to me. The boldness is crazy. Jacob is a nice guy. I'm sorry. He is the type of guy who like will flirt with you and then if you reject him, he becomes a dick. That is exactly Jacob's character. He sucks. I'm mad. I'm mad. I'm mad. I'm mad. I'm done. I'm mad. Oh my god. I'm mad because why was the epilogue in Jacob's point of view? I looked at Breaking Dawn and why do I have to read part of that book from his point of view? One of the characters that I hate more than anything in the world, I have to read from his perspective. No! I don't care! No, it has to do with Renesmee and like the imprinting and blah 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 blah. But like I don't want to be in his head. Gave her the ultimatum. It's like, if you don't kiss me, I'm going to kill myself. And I would have been like, go. And then she's like, I'm actually in love with him. That's great. Girl, I'm going to kick your ass. You could have just lied. You could just lie. It's okay. Just lie. Don't tell the truth. Books are literally rotting my brain and to my core. It wouldn't be the end of the year if I'm reading a book that I absolutely hate. I hate these books. They suck, and I'm going to read the last one. And this vlog is going to be over. The things that I do for content is crazy. Never have I rated so many books 1 star in a row. Like, I need to, like, while I've been reading this, I've been reading Animal Farm, so like my brain feels like it's not completely eroding in my skull. Actually reading something that has some like cultural significance to it. I mean, like, these have cultural significance, but in the worst way. Like a nostalgia thing. Like, I get it if you read these when you were like 13 and you're like, oh my god, and you like didn't know how men are supposed to be. But I'm 23 and I'm reading these for the first time, and I honestly wish I could purge it from my brain. Like, I already know the story. Like, if I went into this blind, I think I would DNF it, like, so fast. The vlog is taking me longer than I wanted it to. I'm mad that I'm doing this to myself. It's entertaining, is it? I don't know. Watch me go crazy when I read it in 24 hours. I'm hopefully you watching me descend into madness reading these books for the first time and just being a straight out hater is entertaining and fun. Because god, he threatened to kill himself if she didn't kiss him. Like, are you joking? Are you joking? And there are people who are team Jacob. I understand long hair Jacob, but you read that shit and you're like, yeah. Yep. I don't like Edward. Like, if it wasn't Taylor Lautner playing him, I don't think people would have been Team Jacob. I understand why all of them, like, after the movies came out, they want to forget about them completely. I know why Robert Pattinson is like, I hate this. I hated this role. And why Kristen Stewart didn't do anything for so long. Because, like, I don't blame them. Because when I tell you I ever read these books ever again in my life, I will not read Midnight Sun. I will not read the other one that she wrote. No, I'm not doing it. I'm not putting myself through more pain and suffering for fun. Like, that's just not something that I'm doing. Like, every now and again, something possesses me to read something that I know I'm gonna fucking hate. Because I love being enraged by books. I'm done. I can't. Does this count as self-harm? Is this like self-destructive behavior? I can't tell. I can't tell. But I'm not reading more of Stephanie Meyer's writing until tomorrow. I'm letting my brain decompress. I think I'm gonna watch like a bunch of episodes of Parks and Rec and then go to sleep. Why am I having to be in Jacob's perspective? Why is this happening? Why am I being tortured by Stephanie Meyer more than I have to listen to this man's inner thoughts? I don't want to be in his head. I don't want to be here. Also, I'm horrified. I'm not that far in. Okay, this is all I've read. I'm freaked out. I'm uncomfortable. What do you mean she's like 6 months pregnant? It's been 17 days. I have seen the movies. Okay, I knew this was coming. I'm not an idiot. I'm very much aware of what happens in the plot. It doesn't change the fact that it's so disturbing. I feel unsafe in my own home. Book 2, Jacob, I said no. You're telling me I have to read this much of Jacob's perspective? No! I don't want to do that. Why did I do this to myself? Why did I do this? My sister today was like, are you going to read Midnight Sun? I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that. You want to know why? Because I'm not putting myself through more torture by reading her writing. I'm never ever picking up a book of hers ever again. I've been posting about it on TikTok. People are like, well, you're an adult. This wasn't made, like, it's young adult. It's not made for adults. I'm like, yeah, no shit. I still have never read them before, so I wanted to experience it. I don't think I would have liked these if I was younger. 2 series that I really loved was The Hunger Games, which are well written, and The Maze Runner, which is also well written. These are not. I'm so glad I was never a Twilight person. Like, there's no way. I hate these books. I hate these books so much. I don't. I'm here. Okay, 40% in. I'm on Jacob's perspective. Bella is pregnant. Everything about this is awful. Everything about it is bad. I hate it. I think I would hate this more if the pregnancy part was from Bella's perspective. However, Jacob's perspective is not making it better. Listening to her describe Bella drinking blood as a human and being like, it's good, gulping it down. I can't. It's fucking disgusting. I'm disgusted. I'm annoyed. I hate this experience for myself. Don't know why I insisted on doing this, but here I am. I love taking my pain and suffering through something and making it into content, apparently. I've done this twice this year. First with it, now with this. Like, it's not better. This book is not as big as it was. There's 754 pages. And the last page says the end. Except it wasn't. She then wrote another book. Well, I am going to say one thing before I go to bed. I just finished Jacob's perspective and Renesmee is born and he imprinted on her. And I don't know how. I don't know how to feel right now, which is what is driving me insane, which is making this like 10 times harder. I'm just like, I'm scared. I don't know what to, him imprinting on Renesmee is just one of those things where I'm just like, I can't get over it. Stephenie Meyers is a weirdo. Like, there's no way to phrase it any other way except for that way. Like, she is a weirdo. What do you mean he imprinted on a child? He doesn't age as fast. That's still weird because it's like this weird age gap now. And I'm like, I cannot get behind this. I cannot justify it. It's not something that can happen. I'm done for tonight. I'm going to read a normal book, a book that I actually want to read, and go to bed because I've work tomorrow and I just put myself through, what time is it? It's like 12:30 in the morning. I started at like 8:30, I want to say, so it's been 4 hours of breaking dawn. 4 hours of my sanity falling apart. Like, I am horrified. Like, the birth was graphic in the book, but I feel like it was 10 times worse in the movie. That's just my personal opinion as someone who is a horror enjoyer, have heard and read and like seen horrible shit. The birth scene from Breaking Dawn is the worst thing I've ever witnessed in my life. It was genuinely like nightmare fuel. Like, what the fuck did I just watch? The book, however, was not as graphic in my opinion. I think they took the liberty to make it worse in the movie for like cinema's sake. Like that like shock value. Yep, that's how I feel. That's all for me now. I will check in whenever, I guess. I am almost done with this godforsaken book. So I'm gonna finish it today and then I'm gonna give my final thoughts tomorrow probably. So I'll check in like an hour or two when I finish this. I gotta say, I think this might be the best book out of these 4 that I'm reading. But this has like the most plot, I gotta say, and like the most on like world building and stuff. But holy racial stereotypes. My god. At the part where like all of the different types of vampires are coming to help them with the Volturi and all of that. The way she's just like flat out racist describing some of these people is just, it's so questionable. It's so questionable. The whole Jacob imprinting on Renesmee is fucking weird. And I also think Bella reacting to that was the only valid reaction she's ever had. She has never had like a normal reaction to anything except for that instance. So I will check in later when I'm done and give my final thoughts on this book. And then I will do the wrap up and summary tomorrow. It's done. I finished this book. Okay, series is over. I'm done with this book. The final battle scene is more boring in the book than it is in the movie, in my opinion. So now I understand why people flip the fuck out when that whole scene of like everyone dying happened. But I definitely like this one more plot-wise than I did the other ones. There was more that was going on in this. A more obvious conflict in this book specifically than there was in the previous 3. Other 3, it was more like, it wasn't plot driven. It was mainly just like Bella's emotions. Plot part was more later on in the book in the story, so like it wasn't something that was like entirely a problem, which I think that's why I like this one the most, because it was the most plot driven. I could have done without Jacob's perspective, just because I find him annoying and repulsive and a pain in my ass, but I do understand why it was in there. I'll have more concluding thoughts tomorrow for sure to go over the whole series, but 2.5 stars because I still don't like any of the characters except for Alice in this book, and Renesmee freaks me out. None of these books deserve 3 or higher in my opinion. I don't know like what else to say here other than that was an experience that I never want to have again. Less brain cells during this process, but I'm glad this is over and I'm done. More happy that it's over than I am that I enjoyed the book. I think that that's the thing. That's all for me. I'll see you guys tomorrow with my concluding thoughts. I did it. It's over. I finished all 4 of them, and I don't know how to feel. I think I'm relieved that it's over. I truly do. I think it's one of those situations where I am just happy I'm done. There are certain times where I make videos and I'm like, oh wow, I can't wait for this to be over. This was one of those instances. The other one was when I did the It video and I read It in 24 hours. That was the other one because that one was exhausting. This was also exhausting, but over a longer period of time. I didn't like these books. I think the last one was actually the one that I don't even want to say enjoyed, but didn't hate reading. You can tell like what her values are in the world. Yeah, I don't vibe with it at all. I knew that going into this though. She's a very interesting like look on things because she grew up Mormon, I think, and also there's just like a lot of racial stereotypes in these books because of when they were written, and the way that she characterized Native people is genuinely disgusting. I didn't like them. That is not to say that if you enjoy these books, it is not I don't care. If you like these books, that's great. I love that for you. I can understand why some people would, especially if you read them when you were younger and it's like more of a nostalgic thing. I guess because I never had that phase, they had no nostalgic value for me. Remember my mom loving them when I was younger, when the movies were coming out. What I'm struggling to understand is why these books were so popular with older women especially. I don't know if it was just like the time in which these books came out. There wasn't much in comparison for them. It was just one of those like romance type books, okay-ish romance books that like were very popular during the time in which the books were coming out and also the movies. I understand why people would read them because of the movies. I get it. Like I totally understand why so many people enjoyed these. They were not for me though, and that's okay. I don't have to like everything that everyone enjoys, and you don't have to like everything that I enjoy. You don't have to share the same opinions as me that I have with these books. I've made my opinions abundantly clear that these books were not for me, and I've been posting about it on TikTok and stuff while I've been doing this video, and a lot of people were kind of shocked that I didn't like them. You don't have to like everything that everyone else likes. And I also saw a lot of comments from people saying you can only read them if you're like 13 years old, which is like not true at all. Yes, they're YA books, but like you can read YA as an adult. There's nothing stopping you from doing that. I know that I was not the target audience for this, but that's the other thing that I was trying to understand, was that there were people who were my age when these books were coming out, that were in their 20s, that were obsessed with them. That's the part of my brain that I can't understand, because as someone who is about to be 24 in 3 months, which is ridiculous to think about, crazy to me that there were people who were that age when these books were coming out, when the movies were happening, loved them and held them to such a high standard. I can understand holding them to a high standard if you're like 13, 14 years old, because you're younger and like you're not going to be recognizing like good literature at that age. At that age though, I was reading Hunger Games and The Maze Runner and Divergent and all of those types of books and really enjoyed those. Twilight was just never the thing that I was ever drawn to. I realized that the idea of being a vampire is disgusting to me. I don't like blood. I can't look at my own blood if it's in like mass quantities without like getting sick or like other people. Like I'm not a big fan, and so when I was having to read about Bella as a human drinking blood when she was pregnant with Renesmee, I gagged like 4 times. So that's probably why I've never been a vampire person, is icky to me. I am a big germaphobe. I hate germs. I'm one of those weirdos when it comes to like germs and stuff. The idea of drinking blood for sustenance was so nasty to me. I was like, this is gross. I hate this. If you are offended that I didn't like these books, that's not my problem. Because I don't like the books does not mean I don't like you. My opinions on books shouldn't reflect you as a person. They don't reflect you as a person. If you like books that I don't like, that doesn't mean that I don't like you because you like the books that I don't like. I feel like too many people are taking it personally when people say they don't like a book that they love. They take it as like not a criticism of the book, but a criticism of them as a person. And that is not at all how I want any of this to be perceived. Like these books, that's okay. If you like these books and you love these books and these are books that you adore and you think they're one of the greatest series ever, that's also okay. That's your opinion. I also have my opinion, which I felt like I lost brain cells reading these books in my 20s. I didn't make this expecting to hate all of these books. I genuinely did think that I would at least like one of them, which I guess Breaking Dawn maybe. It was an experience to say the least. Was it a good one? I don't think so. Not one of the greatest ones. I had no desire to consume these books when I was younger, and I did now out of curiosity and regret it because to me it felt like a waste of time. Please do not take my opinions of books to heart because I'm literally one single individual and you should not be holding my opinions higher than anyone else's. I'm not a critic. I'm just a girl who makes videos on YouTube and puts them on the internet. I'm not some crazy important person, and even then, you should still question the people who are in power. Now we're getting off topic. I rated each book. The first one was 2 stars. I feel like it's just it's the basis of the story. I knew what it was. 2 stars. 1 star. New Moon was 1 star. I'm sorry. This infuriated me because Edward was gone for the whole book, and I couldn't stand it. Anyway. Eclipse was also 1 star. Everyone pissed me off in this book except for Alice. That's all. Breaking Dawn was 1.5 stars. And when you average that together, it's 1.6. So we're gonna just leave it at 1.75 overall for the entire series. Thank God my mom owned them, so I didn't have to purchase anything. Me to my brain cells being like, where have you been, Loka? Because they're gone. I lost them. But I think this will be my last, content video of the year. And if it is the last one of the year, which it probably will be, I just want to say thank you so much. This year has been crazy. It was the year that I started taking content creation seriously, and it's been kind of insane. Have had some really great bangers that have happened this year. Didn't get out as much as I wanted to, but that's okay. I still posted a lot of videos this year, more than what I expected myself to, and the fact that I kept at it and I'm enjoying it and I'm loving it is crazy, and I'm forever grateful for each and every one of you who log in and watch me talk about things and genuinely enjoy being here. I greatly appreciate it. And I'm sorry if this video ruffled some of y'all's feathers, but that I still love you, and I hope you don't think less of me because I don't like these books. Thank you so much for sticking with me, regardless of when you've come in. If you're new here and you're just now watching this video, thank you for watching this. And if you've been here since January when I posted my first video, thank you. And if you came from the Marauders video, which I'm pretty sure most of you did, thank you for sticking around. I know that I haven't been posting as much Marauders content, but it's coming. I've been saying that for months, but I promise it's coming. And I am so glad that I took this leap into making content, and I'm very happy that I did because it's been so much fun, and I have a lot more planned and more to come for 2025. It's going to be great. We're going to do amazing, and it's going to be a fun time. If you choose to find me elsewhere, all of my social media links are down below, including some other fun links that you can go check out. Do something nice for yourself today, and remember you are loved, especially by me, and I will see you guys in the next one, in the new year. Bye-bye.